There was a recent psychological study on NHL players. They track players' general mood and mindset on game days before the game and after the game, and on normal days when they just had a practice, training, or a day off. And in this study, they found something very interesting. They saw no direct link between how confident or anxious a player was before the game and how well they played that night in the game. So basically, the study suggested that before the game, it doesn't matter how happy, sad, anxious, depressed, it has no real impact on how you play. And so you might be wondering, so doesn't that mean that working on your mental game is just a total waste of time? And wouldn't that mean that everything that mental coaches and sports psychologists have been talking about for decades is completely wrong? Well, if you kind of skimmed through the article or only read part of it, you would think that. And it would make total sense why someone would tweet something like this, or someone would believe something like this tweet. So if you just read this tweet and then walked away, you would say, oh, maybe it doesn't really matter what my state is before the game. It doesn't really impact how I play. But here's what this study and this tweet got completely wrong. In the study, they never measured the player's state right before they went on the ice. They only measured them earlier in the day, hours before the game, and then after the game. And just because you're calm and confident at lunch doesn't mean you're not going to be overthinking it when the warm-up starts. And that's exactly why this study is extremely misleading. And if you spend even 10 minutes of research, you'll realize that there are hundreds of other studies on the mental game in hockey and in tons of other sports. Just like this meta-analysis that was done in 2021. And the reason why a meta-analysis is very important is because they basically look at a whole bunch of different studies and then they find the general data or outcomes from those. And what they found in this meta-analysis is something completely different. Things like depression, confusion, and emotional states right before the game do have a reliable impact on performance. So in other words, what you feel right before a competition, right before you step on the ice, especially nervous system signals like tension, fatigue, pressure, these do affect how your instincts and hockey IQ show up. They do affect how you play. And that's why something called polyvagal theory really matters. It explains why players can look calm all day leading into a game, but then freeze once the puck drops. Or maybe you feel a little nervous on game day, but then the second the game starts, you're like, man, and I just lock up and I cannot play the way I'm capable of. So let's break polyvagal theory down. Polyvagal theory was developed by Dr. Stephen Porges, a neuroscientist who wanted to understand why some people react so differently under pressure. And here's what he discovered that's going to be very interesting to you as a hockey player. Your nervous system is not just an on-off switch. Either you do something or you don't do something. Your nervous system has a hierarchy or a ladder with different states that have evolved over millions of years to help keep us safe and alive as humans. These states control everything from facial expressions, voice tone, your focus, motor skills, your decision-making on the ice. And most importantly, they work automatically or subconsciously. You don't choose to freeze up in a game, your body does. You don't choose to overthink in a game. Your nervous system thinks you're in danger, so it slows you down or makes you hesitate. That's why you can practice all week, feel ready while you're at school or at work or just during the day. And even when you walk into the rink, you still feel good. Then suddenly, right before the game starts, your chest tightens, your hands get cold or sweaty, and your instincts just disappear. Your mind almost goes blank, and not in a good way. And see, it's not a lack of effort or physical preparation. It's a physiological shift that you don't know how to control right now. And until you understand this polyvagal ladder, you're going to keep trying to fix your performance using logic when the problem is actually a state that you keep getting into. And again, this does actually matter. Scientists have shown for decades that your state right before the game does have an impact on how you perform. And so let's break down polyvagal theory very simply. Your body basically has three main states, kind of like rungs of a ladder. You have ventral vagal or safe. This is when you feel present, grounded, and connected. You can process things quickly, you read the play, and you react with poise. This is your flow state. Now, this is a state everybody wants to be in, but the problem is they slip into the next rung. This is the sympathetic or fight or flight state. You feel urgent, anxious, or tight. Your vision narrows, your breath shortens, and your instincts and plays you want to make and decisions you would have made just kind of jam up. And this is when you play scared or you try to force the play. And then the third one is dorsal vagal or freeze. This is when you feel numb, disconnected, or fatigued. And I know I used to feel this all the time in games. I would be so excited for the game, I'd feel good. And then the second I would get to the rink, I would go into this state. My body would start to slow down, shut down. And it wasn't laziness, I was just shutting down and kind of my body wanted to kind of relax and not do things. And what this will look like at the start of a game is like you don't care. But really it's that your body is trying to protect you by freezing up or slowing you down. And basically your system is kind of tapped out. And what's crazy about these states is you can learn to shift through them moment to moment. And it's all based on how safe your nervous system feels. This is called neuroception. Your body is constantly scanning for safety or threats. Even if you're not conscious of it, this is what's happening subconsciously. And that's why two players can walk into the same tryout. They're using the same stick, the same skates, the same gear. They have the same general skill set. And one player lights it up and takes over the game, and one player just shuts down. And when you shut down, you basically just disappear. And I'm guessing you're probably watching this video because you find yourself more shutting down and disappearing more often. And so now let's connect this to something that probably happens to you. So if you're overthinking, that's a sympathetic response. Your body's basically in fight mode. If you feel a lack of motivation, you're probably in dorsal vagal mode. This is basically your body saying, I don't think doing this is worth the effort. It's trying to protect you and not have you do it. And if you show up and play well in practice, but you're not doing it in games, it's because you can't get yourself to shift into the right state for the game, or you're shifting into the wrong state. And so the key here is you need to learn how to practically make a shift. And now I'm going to teach you 3 powerful polyvagal tools and teach you how to actually use them effectively to get ready for games or practices or training. So the first one we can use is a pregame breath loop. So there's a lot of ways you can breathe before the game, but here's one that can really work. You take 2 to 4 minutes, you can set a timer on your phone, and you basically want to inhale for 4 seconds, exhale for about 6 seconds. You repeat this for about 2 minutes. Now what you can do with this is as you exhale, you can actually hum. So it's and you can kind of feel the vibration as you exhale. The belief is that this actually stimulates your vagal nerve, which basically helps you calm down and shift into that more relaxed state. Now, where you can use this, you can do this in the car right before you go into the rink, or you can actually do it in a private place, or you can do it in the dressing room, depending on how comfortable you feel doing kind of that humming breathing. So basically what this does is it helps quiet that fight or flight system. Your body basically senses that slow exhale and it calms your system down. And that's what shifts you into that ventral vagal mode. Now, the next technique you can use before you go into a practice or a game is locker room grounding and rhythm resets. So basically what you want to do is bring all your attention into your feet and feel them connected to the ground. So if you have your skates on, feel your skates connected to the ground. Then slowly scan the room and notice 5 core things you can see. Then you want to sing a rhythmic song or play a rhythmic song and then tap your feet to that song. Ideally, this is a calm beat. You don't want it to be super, super excited because you want it to be something that kind of puts you in a more in-between state, not too fired up, not too relaxed. So this basically combines visual anchoring with rhythm. So it pulls you into the moment and it also helps calm your nervous system down by using that tapping. And so those are both pre-game techniques. Now, what you can do in-game to kind of calm yourself down, bring yourself into the moment and shift into that ventral vagal state is use this bench reset protocol. So if you have a bad shift, the key is not to overanalyze. Just quickly place your hand on your stomach, your chest, if you can. Obviously, if this might look a little weird. So you can even just put your hand on your stomach. That can even help. All you got to do is take 3 calm breaths, as calm as you can make them. Breathing in as slow as you can, exhaling as slow as you can. I know you're going to be tired after your shift, so try to catch your breath first, then use these breaths. Then you want to feel the bench as you're sitting, feel the grip of your stick, and then look around and identify 1 to 3 things that you see around you. And then finally, you want to softly say to yourself the 3 core I am statements that really stick with you. I'm calm, I'm confident, I'm amazing. Whatever those are, they can be anything. What this does is it creates a pattern interrupt by doing the breathing. You anchor yourself with those physical things that you pay attention to, and then you remind yourself who you are with those I am statements to create that forward thought. Now, a hack you can do, or a little bonus, is to prepare for these moments before you get in them. So what I mean by this is you can visualize yourself making mistakes, coming back to the bench, and then see yourself responding using this bench protocol. What you're basically doing is installing this pattern into your subconscious mind so it becomes part of your mental software in that moment. Because the key is that you don't want to be in the game trying to remember to do this. You want to instinctually do it. So today, I recommend you take about 10 to 20 reps of going through. Imagine you make a mistake, come back to the bench, see yourself do it the right way. This is super effective. I use this with guys all the way from Division I NCAA, professional, high-level junior. It works for any level. And those are the 3 techniques. And ultimately, because of this polyvagal theory, it's why we don't just teach confidence as beliefs to a player. Belief is a part of it. Understanding how to improve your thinking is a part of it. But we also teach physiological shifting because fundamentally 2 core things really matter. You need to have the subconscious mental software. So that's the self-talk. That's the visualization reps that program this stuff into your brain, that simulate the experience, which programs it into your mind. You need to rewire your beliefs so you believe in yourself when you're in the situation. And then you need to let go of any resistance or mental blocks that you have. Then once you've done that, then we get into the nervous system regulation. Now, these things can be implemented at different times depending on the player, but this is where you need things like polyvagal training, state tracking, in-game resets, and things like we just went through. Because when we combine these 2 things together, both the subconscious mental software and the nervous system regulation, you stop riding that emotional roller coaster. You build true, stable confidence. The kind that when pressure hits doesn't collapse, actually gets stronger and steps up in those moments. So if you want to learn how to train the system for yourself, there's 2 options. You can click the first link below and learn about getting a free mental performance assessment with us. You'll get on with me or one of my expert coaches. We'll help you understand exactly what mental barriers you're running into and what you need the most help with. And you'll leave that call understanding the 3 best next steps to work on your mental game, or if you even do need help with your mental game. And then if you want to just get started with this stuff and learn about how it works and how to actually start to implement these mental tools into your game, we have a free mental masterclass below. It's 7 lessons breaking down all key aspects of the mental game, so you can get started there. I hope you enjoyed the video. Comment below anything you want me to cover next time, and also let me know if you have any questions. Hope you have a great week.